to me, I don't care whether he did or did not do it. To be honest, it doesn't matter to me. The fact is there is not, and I was not presented enough evidence. Me as the jury was not presented with enough evidence to think that he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Because I got a lot of doubt.
Hello, welcome back to the Friends of Zeus podcast. This is episode 117. You can find us everywhere. We'll be there. Just look. Tonight I'm broadcasting from the fabulous Patriots Pub, which everybody here on the show has been to at least once. Tonight is Desiree's episode. I'm kind of excited about this one because it's something I've been paying attention to. We're going to talk about the Alec Murdaugh trial. For those of you that aren't familiar, he is the gentleman that basically was like ran the town in this little borough in South Carolina, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he was accused of murdering his wife and son. And I think I'll leave it at that. I want Des to give her spin on it.
Well, he was actually found guilty. His trial's over and he was found guilty on both murder charges. So, but the reason that this case came to mind to talk about was because some very interesting information just came out within the last few days about one of the pieces of this very weird puzzle. So I'm broadcasting from the wonderful Kansas. We just had a thunderstorm. My husband mowed the grass in the rain. And yeah, that's something you do if you're Kansas fuck. See? You mow the grass. Anyway, Tom, how are you?
I'm good.
Are you going to be quiet this episode, or are you going to talk?
I'll chime in.
Okay, because you've been
I've
quiet
got lots
for
of questions, and this is very intriguing. I'm interested.
Okay.
I haven't heard this new revelation, whatever it is. Sounds very interesting.
But you know of the case.
Yes.
Okay. So then we'll just kind of jump into, like, as Zeus was saying, Alex Murdaugh, Alec. I don't know how you really say it because I don't think he knows how to say it.
I think he goes by Alex, but he spells it Alec.
Well, I think he goes by Alec and spells Alex.
Because it's Richard Alexander Murdaugh.
Right. That's his name, but he says his name
Alex.
Differently, like every time he says his own name. It's very strange.
Well, he's a weird dude. I think it's
kind of strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, and is it Murdaugh? Murdaugh? Who doesn't know?
Murdaugh.
I would say Murdaugh.
Murdaugh.
Murdaugh. There's a G in there, but
yeah. Anyway, so he was an attorney and they lived in South Carolina. I don't really know where exactly.
A little town called Hampton, South Carolina.
Oh, well, that's the Low Country, apparently. That's what everyone kept saying the whole time. So the Low Country of South Carolina. So he's got that lovely South Carolina accent. Just a good old boy. He was an attorney, and his whole family was like his dad and his grandfather and his great-grandfather. They were all attorneys, and they were basically prosecutors in the town. They like had their own law firm, but they were also like volunteer prosecutors. Anyway, so that's how they generations have gone to know that the Murdaughs just run the town. Anyway, so this cat, he had a couple of sons, and they're going to come back all throughout this story. The first thing that kind of happened to the family was their housekeeper. Mind you, this is a rich family. They live on a huge farm. And when I say farm, I really just mean land that they hunt hogs on. And then they have like a couple of, like, they've got a house in Hilton Head. They've got a house in like on the beach somewhere. So they're well to do.
Yeah.
Hilton Head is very swanky.
I want to go to Hilton Head.
I've been there. Yeah.
Is it Martha's Vineyard or Hilton Head? Which one you think is better?
Say that again.
Martha's Vineyard or Hilton Head?
Well, I've never been to Martha's Vineyard, but I know Hilton Head is
very waspy.
Yeah.
I like a waspy. Anyway, so yeah, this family, well to do. They had housekeepers, they had all this, just just stupid money. And so this housekeeper that they particular had, Miss Satterfield, she had worked for the family for quite a while, and had known like the kids, and it's very, very close to the family. Well, one day I guess Maggie, the wife, somehow found her at the bottom of like a brick staircase with her head bleeding, and the guess was that she fell. And the story was that she may have tripped over some dogs and took a tumble, ultimately resulting in her demise. And she unfortunately passed away a week later at the hospital. Well, because they were very close to the family, or Miss Satterfield's family and the Murdaugh family were close. They and Alex, being an attorney, he offered to sue himself for like the homeowner's insurance payout for the death, if that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but that's what he did. But you can't really sue yourself. So there was like a huge webbing of people.
They
like
trusted him at that point.
They did. They're like, okay, well, sure, great, get us a settlement. And they weren't really asking for it. It was just like Alec came up to them at the end of the service for their mother and like offered, hey, I feel bad. I'm gonna get you guys some money. I'm gonna sue myself. I'm gonna sue my homeowner's insurance. And they were like, okay, sure. So years go by. Okay. In the meantime, Paul, the son that it was the younger of the two sons, they have two sons, Paul and Buster. I don't think his real name's not Buster. I think it's like Randolph, but anyway, Paul and Buster. Paul was with some friends and was drinking heavily. Apparently he had a drinking issue. He drank tons. And they were out on the boat because, what else do you do when you're filthy rich and frugalist? You just drive boats everywhere, just hammered. And there was like two couples, maybe it was a total of like 5 or 6 people. So they leave this place that they were at, they get on the boat, he's smashed, hammered, drunk, crashes into a bridge, causes this huge boat accident, and unfortunately one of the people in the boat passed away. She was found like a couple days later in the water. And so that whole, it was sad, whatever. No, everyone, we knew, like they knew that Paul was driving the boat. Yes, he was, boating while intoxicated. That's a crime, whatever. Also, he's not 21. All those things. So there was, criminal charges with that. And then later on down the line, there was like a civil lawsuit against against Alec, because it was his boat and his son. So this girl, her name was Mallory Beach, was suing Alec in civil court for wrongful death. So he had that weighing on his shoulders. Then if you I don't really count this part as really part of this whole puzzle situation, but there was a kid that he was a gay kid, and not that that's important, but it kind of might be later, that was just randomly found dead in a road. Like they said it was a hit and run. The evidence doesn't look like it was a hit and run. It looks like a homie drop off is what it looks like. Yeah. And his car was found like a couple of miles down the road. It seems to be that somebody, whoever did this, set up the scene to make it look like the kid ran out of gas, started walking down the road, was in the middle of the road in the middle of the night and got hit by a truck or something, and then the hit and run. That happened, and then like the day afterwards, like the family, the Murdaugh family had contacted that family of that kid, talking about how they could help with the situation because they're accident attorneys. So they were trying to maybe figure out like what they could do to get them some settlement money from whoever hit this kid. So that's how they're involved with that.
I'm sorry, that one was attributed to Buster, right?
Well, now they're kind of maybe, but I don't know. After the whole trial was over, that they kind of reopened that case and had said that they found some interesting information that might implicate somebody, but they're not really saying who. I mean, there was some chatter about, Buster being secretly gay, and so there's a relationship with these two people, and I don't know. It just doesn't. It's very, very loosely connected, to be honest, I think.
Now wait, how old is, because that one actually happened first. That
It
happened
did.
back in 2015.
hmm
So how old is Buster then?
Buster's like in his 20s.
How
Now, I
old
mean,
would he
now,
have
I don't know.
been? So this would have been 8 years ago.
hmm I think he's like 25, 26, like older 20s.
Okay. So,
Loaded now.
all right.
He's surviving Murdaugh.
There's a lot of people dropping dead around these Murdaughs.
Yeah, so that was the thing. It's
you
like
don't want
there's
to
a
be
lot
in
of
their
people
vicinity
dying around this
alone.
family. Like, why? And they're kind of all I mean, Mallory Beach wasn't really mysterious. I mean, obviously she was killed in a boating accident, but the Gloria Satterfield, the housekeeper, and then that again, I personally just do not see how the case with Stephen, I think his name was Stephen, his last name is leaving my mind, but Stephen something or other, Stephen
Smith.
and Buster Smith, that's what it was. Stephen Smith, the guy that was found in the road dead. I don't really see how he's connected to any of this, but some people are throwing it in, saying that it's part of it.
It definitely can show a pattern of people dying around them. So
Yeah.
Was his body found like near their estate?
No.
Okay. I don't know the connection, but they think
The only connection is I guess one of the Murdaugh brothers, because not only is Alec an attorney, well, he's not anymore, he got disbarred, but his two brothers are as well. So one of the brothers, they're all in like a law firm together, and part of their, they're like accident attorneys. And so, ambulance chasers. So they find out this accident occurred. They contact the family to try to see if they can be involved in suing whoever may be involved in the case. But who is that? We don't know.
So the only connection is from that side of things where they're like offering to provide legal services.
Yeah.
There's no known connection, at least
Correct.
publicly known connection.
No, I do remember I watched the documentary, and I do remember that they attributed it to Buster versus Paul.
What was the evidence?
Because Buster and Steven knew each other, and they may have been secretly a gay couple.
Yeah.
But I mean, none of like Buster's friends are like saying that he was secretly gay. I mean, listen, I know some people that are secretly gay, and I know, okay, and they just haven't let that information out yet. But
you don't just randomly kill your secretly gay partner.
I
don't know.
But if Dad is culpable in these other deaths, it certainly lends to
Dad would have killed him, not Buster.
That's what I think. Yeah.
But why?
Just to get him away from your son, I guess.
I mean, I guess you could just tell him not to. I don't know.
Anyway, let's move.
Anyway, I guess maybe that could be the theory of tarnish the Murdaugh name. I guess maybe. Yeah. And then the Gloria Satterfield thing happened, and then the Mallory Beach thing happened. Okay, so those three events. Now, whilst all that is going on, Alex isn't so honest of a man, because he likes to have sticky fingers and steal basically his client's settlement money, portions of it, all of it, who knows, whatever he feels like, I guess. But how he did it was there was a consulting company, like for how you used to do, Zeus, you worked for a company that purchased
like a J.G. Wentworth.
Yes. J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. But yes, something like that. But it was called Forge Consulting Company, LLC, whatever. I don't know what it was, the full name of it. It was a full name, Forge Consulting, whatever. Well, Alec opened up like a Bank of America account and just called it Forge LLC.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
when he would say like, hey, here we have to put your settlement money through this, consulting company or whatever, and then then the check just has to kind of do a dance between, here, there, and there before it gets to your hands. And then somehow it would be less, the money that the people, the clients received was less than the actual settlement dollar amount. How they figured, how the client, it wasn't like, hey, my settlement was $15 million and I only got 7. What the
I
fuck?
would probably think, because you think, okay, there's going to be all these lawyer fees and everything. I'm not going to get the whole 15 million.
Maybe.
So,
That could be
I
true.
mean, I don't know how many red flags would go up. He was probably
Yeah.
getting away with that for a long time.
He was. So, and no one at the his law firm really caught on to it until way later. Because like I said, this account was entitled Forge LLC. So if you're just looking at glancing at a check and you say Forge on it and knowing that's the consulting company you go through for these settlements, I mean, unless you're really paying attention, I mean, you're probably not going to think much of that. So, I mean, he's tricking people left and right. Well, I guess at some point during the civil case with Mallory Beach, Alec Murdaugh, they were trying to get some financial records, as cases like that do, because they're trying to sue you in civil court. So they need to know how much money you have so they can sue you for it. So, in the mix of all that, I guess a secretary at the law firm stumbled across this check that said Forge LLC on it and had noticed, hey, that ain't right. So his secret that he's been stealing all this money for years kind of came out, and the firm was made aware of it, and they kind of were like, hey, you gotta pay this. We're gonna pay the clients their money. You gotta pay us back. And it was a lot of money. It was I want to say
them out of the law firm, right?
They did. Eventually they did. I don't think they did right away.
No, hold it out as long as possible. That tends to be the standard response.
This is just flat out greed. I mean, he should have had plenty of money. He was a successful lawyer to start with. He's just skimming off the top of all this other stuff. I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you why here in a minute. Well, what he says.
Oh, okay.
She ended up dying. Also during this financial background investigation that was kind of going on for the Mallory Beach civil case, it came out that some reporter had reported that there was a $3.8 million settlement that that is missing or something, or that Alec had taken, that was supposed to go to the Satterfield family. The Satterfield family had no idea that there was even a settlement had been received. And they find this out reading a newspaper that this settlement is even there. So that was a crappy way to find that out. So they're like, what the hell? What's going on? So all this is kind of tornadoing these financial crimes are kind of coming to light.
Is unraveling.
Yeah, his secret's coming out. He's just weight on his shoulders. He's got the civil case. He's got, oh my gosh, the Satterfields they're gonna find out. I owe all this money back to my firm. That's okay. I can just ask my dad, in his head. Okay, right? So he's going to ask his dad to load him. It was a very large amount of money to pay back the firm. But later on in that day, he gets a call that his dad had went into the hospital and it doesn't look good. So his original thought was, I'm going to ask my dad for money because that's his cash cow. Now his dad's going into the hospital, probably going to die from what the physicians are saying. All these crimes are coming to a head. The financial crimes are coming to a head. He's got this civil case on his shoulders and he's driving home, right? And when he gets home, he just decides to eat dinner and then kill his family.
Okay.
I guess. I guess that's the scene.
Now, if his dad's about to die, let me ask a question here. But wouldn't he get money from inherit money? Why is he? Either way, if his dad's alive or dead, he's going to get money, right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe there was an immediacy to perhaps they said that if you pay this off, we'll leave the legal bullshit out to the side and you'll be able to walk away.
If he needed cash now, he could have went to J.G. Wentworth.
Yeah, remember, he could have just called 877 cash now. I mean, it's probably one of his clients' annuities in there.
You're about to
could've
get,
just-
a will. What do you call it when you get money? An inheritance. That's
A
on the
windfall.
way.
Yeah.
So you can use that to get a loan.
Perhaps,
How
unless he
dumb is
spent
it? I
it
mean, he's
already.
very smart, but he's an idiot, right?
Well, so that's just kind of what the defense in his, or not the defense, the prosecution in his trial was kind of painting the picture as. All
Okay,
these
they're
things
saying
are
that's the
happening.
motive.
They're
He
saying
needed
that all this
money.
stuff was happening, and so he had a motive to come home
Okay,
and
so
just kill
that's
his
kind of a
family.
weak motive then,
Yeah, I
in
also
my
agree.
mind.
Mhm.
Okay.
So then
What had happened?
the murder occurs. This is how this happened. So I guess Maggie,
Maggie?
sorry, Maggie
Right.
was she was away at the beach house that they have, and it wasn't anything like they were in a fight and she had to get away. I guess they were doing some remodeling or some redecorating or whatever at the beach house, and so she had been staying at the beach house to oversee all that. Well, Alec had asked her to come home. Why? I don't know. People ask their wives to come home all the time. From everything that from everyone around them said that they had a really good relationship. There had been rumors about them seeing a divorce lawyer. Nobody can attest to that. No attorney has come out and said that that is true. So that could just be a rumor.
Well,
I seem to remember that his fingers weren't the only things that were getting sticky. Apparently he was with a lot of women as well.
I didn't hear that. Where'd you hear that?
I'll look.
Okay, because that's
I
interesting.
will add this though. When you start going through all of this stuff with the financial issues and everything, a lot of people will get a divorce on purpose to kind of protect some of the money.
Yeah, that
kind
could
of
be
separate
true.
So that could have been if they were doing
Right. Okay, so that makes sense. But even if that was the case, that's not ill will. And
Right.
from everything that it makes it seem like she had no idea that this financial stuff was going on.
So if there were whispers of a divorce, I wouldn't immediately think, oh, they're fighting, they're at each other's throats. Because it could have been just for
could have been.
money.
And for so whatever everyone around like the families says that they have a good relationship. So it doesn't really seem like there's any bad blood.
I'm not hearing anything like damning
Right.
against them. Well, except for all the other stuff.
In answer to his philandering, there was a woman who said that for over a decade and on at least 4 occasions they got together and he was abusive and choked her to the point of blacking out. So that's definitely gonna add to his shadiness.
That sounds like somebody coming out of the woodworks just making shit up for money, to be honest. I mean, when I say we watched this whole ass trial, we watched this whole fucking 6-week trial almost.
Well, it says that
and no one ever brought that up.
And they had like 70 witnesses or something.
It says here that it wouldn't have shown up in court for whatever reason. I don't know. I would think that it would be part of the case to establish character. But it says at least 2 former sex workers claimed to provide services for him. So
okay, well, if they're sex workers, they're not affairs, and that doesn't mean that she knew about them.
Yeah, no. I just as an added little bit to encourage people to believe that maybe he was just as shady as he comes across.
And just because you're with a sex worker and are choking them out or you're doing some kink stuff doesn't mean that's how you are in your actual personal life. Because a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, but there are some people that will go outside their marriage just to get their kink fix, but then be just
perfectly normal. Yeah. Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it's not unheard of. Anyway, so Alec asks too many X's. Alec asks Maggie to come home from the beach house, and she does. Well, then also Paul was home. I don't know where Buster was at. Maybe he wasn't home. Not sure. We don't really know. But he wasn't on the property. And they called where they lived, they call that property Moselle. Because it was on Moselle Road. So, because they have a lot of properties, they name their properties. Sure. So he's like, come back to Moselle. Paul is home. They have their new housekeeper has prepared them a meal. They eat the dinner. And then the story is that then Paul had to go out to their dog kennel. On this property, it's a hunting property. They have hunting dogs. And so they keep their dogs in the kennels. Sounds normal.
And this is a massive property. I want to say it's like 1,000 acres.
Yeah,
plus.
it's hunting ground. And so dogs aren't.
That's a quick question.
Mhm.
You know how far was the beach house to Moselle?
I've vaguely heard that it was maybe like an hour away. Like it wasn't that far out.
Okay.
But I mean,
All right.
I don't know for sure. But that's again, interesting question, Tom. When did they have this conversation about him asking her to come home? Was it on the drive home at 5 o'clock? Was it at 1 in the afternoon before you find out your dad's gonna? I mean, who knows?
65 miles.
65 miles. So about an hour.
Yeah.
So they eat dinner. Paul has to go out to the kennels because apparently one of the dogs is having an issue with its tail. And he needs to go out to the kennels to take a video of this dog's tail because he's going to send it to a friend who's going to show it to a vet so they can figure out what's wrong with the dog's tail. Okay. So Maggie also went out to the kennels. I don't know why. I guess maybe she just wanted to. Who knows? Well, Alec was like trying to lay down on the couch and have a nap. Well, then
that's his story.
Well, yeah, he was like, yeah,
this is after dinner, I guess.
This is after dinner. And so Maggie asked him to come to the kennels also. And he straight up says in the trial, he's like, I didn't want to go, but I had to because Maggie asked me and I just do what she says sometimes. So anyway, so they go to these kennels, right? And the kennels is where the murders take place. Now, unbeknownst to anybody, except for Paul at the time, he was recording a video of the dog's tail and I guess was trying to send it out via Snapchat, and there was maybe some reception issues. So the video was never sent, but it saved, and his battery was like 1% at this time. So quick video, gonna run in the house, send it. Well, the video never got sent because from the time that the video was taken to the time that, who knows, I guess after all this evidence is found and they look at the phone evidence and can tell what time the phone was locked for the last time, which was maybe about a 5 to 10 minute span of time. In that span of time is when the murders occurred.
Okay.
Well, according to Alec, he's at the kennels. He goes because Maggie wants him to. He doesn't really want to because he knew he was going to have to do some work he didn't want to do. Finally gets home back in the house and takes his nap. Okay. He says he takes a 10-minute nap. He wakes up and he's like, oh gosh, I should probably go see my mom. Because remember, his dad's in the hospital. And so his mom, who has dementia, is probably a little bit worried about, where's my husband. He wanted to go check on her. Mm-hmm. So he goes to check on her. And the caregiver at the house, she says that he went at, this certain time, who was there for about 30 minutes, that he kind of just sat on the bed, talked to his mom, and then went home.
No, wait a minute. He's claiming he came home by himself from, what do you call the kennel place?
The kennels? The Moselle kennels?
No, he was coming home from...
No, Moselle is one place. The ranch with the kennels, that's a different...
No, that's the same property. So they get on like the gator,
okay.
Like a golf cart or a gator or something, just probably ride out to the kennels.
Okay. So he left his wife. His story is his wife and son were alive. He left them there and came back to the house by himself.
Yeah. So he left the kennels by himself, took a nap on the couch, woke up, decided I probably should go see my mom. Calls Maggie. She doesn't answer. It's like, I'm going to go see my mom. Okay. Goes and sees his mom for about 30 minutes and comes home. Okay. Now, I don't really know. I guess maybe that they weren't in the house because they're dead in the kennels. So Paul and Maggie are not in the house. So I guess that maybe prompted him to go look, allegedly, to see what was going on. They're still in the kennels. And he stumbles upon a murder scene.
It's only been less than an hour, I guess.
Yes.
Since he left them. Mm-hmm. Slept for 10 minutes, went to his mom for 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. So not that, it's not like, the next morning and they're still not around. It's only less than an hour.
Correct.
Yeah, no reason to think anything ill had happened to them.
But he goes looking for them. This is kind of suspicious. So he goes looking for them anyway.
Yeah, so he gets home and he's like, why aren't they back from the kennels? Goes to check and see what's up, and he finds the murder scene. Okay.
Because as
So
married men, I think me and Zeus can attest that, if the wife isn't home, we're not going out and looking to get her back to the house, are we, Zeus?
No, not at all. I'd be
Probably like, oh, okay, I can take a
even
longer nap now.
yeah, even even a happy marriage, it tends to be that we enjoy our little
Quiet time.
stolen.
Yeah.
And not to say that I'm in an unhappy
Okay.
marriage.
They're very suspicious that he goes looking for his wife.
Well, y'all might be shitty husbands, because my husband would come looking for me. Like if so, no, seriously, if he knew I was somewhere and I was just looking at a tail on a dog, and I should have been in the house by now, and an hour goes by, I'm pretty confident he would come be like, what the fuck are you doing out here still? Or I mean, it'd be different if I was outside, like building a shed or something, and
Right.
like he leaves for an hour and he's like, oh, you're not in the house, probably still building that shed. Like they're
Well, in our defense, Craig is an exceptionally nice guy, so I'll give you that. It doesn't necessarily make us shitty husbands.
maybe he just loves me a lot.
Perhaps you are adorable, so I can see how that could be the case.
I know. I might just be hot and had passed out or maybe a hog got me. Or maybe that's what he thought, because there were wild hogs on the property. He's like, well, maybe a hog got him. Better go check. I don't know. I wasn't in his mind. So,
All right,
so this is about,
he went back and found them. And
right.
What happened?
So if for time purposes, I guess he left them. They went after the kiddos up in about 8:45-ish. He comes back into the house around 9, then goes to his mom's. He gets back to his house about 10 p.m.
Yeah, roughly 10 p.m.
Yeah. So he goes to like find them, finds them dead. Freaks out, I guess.
Just 1 second. So is the mom an hour away, or was there some missing time here?
There isn't necessarily missing time, because I don't think she lives super far away.
But his travels are very.
Yeah. So by the time, okay, yeah. So an hour, you got to think of.
Is he like changing his washing clothes and getting rid of evidence or something, or what's going on?
I mean, it would be really tight, because let's just say I think it was 9:05 or something that they determined that from the cell phone data, which we can get into later, that the investigators determined the time of death was about 9:05 ish,
Okay.
9:07 maybe. So then he's got to drive the gator back to the house. Okay. Then he's got to take his 10-minute nap on the couch. He's got to wake up and have a thought to go see his mom. I don't know, maybe like puts his shoes on, gets in the car, drives over there. He's there about 30 minutes, comes back home. So I mean, that's about an hour, right?
Roughly, yeah, I would say.
Okay, another question. Sorry to keep interrupting.
No, you're good.
So
no,
he took the gator back to the home, back to the house. Where the other two is supposed to get back? They all went out there together on the gator, right?
I don't know if they all went out there together.
No, they were there. They were there when he got home.
No, you said the wife said
right.
she's going to go, and she wanted him to go with them. Or well, that's his story anyway.
It could have been one of two things to answer your question. Would have happened. Either Maggie and Paul went to kennels, and Maggie had said, hey, you should come. He's like, no, I don't really want to. And then she's like, fucking whatever. I came home to be with you, and then you just wanted to sit there on the couch. Fine, do you. She and Paul leave. And then like a minute later or so, maybe Alec was like, fuck, fine. And then goes and gets his own gator and goes. That could have been a possible scenario. Or they all went together. But from the way that he sounds, it doesn't really, like, from the way that they all set the scene, the investigators and the attorneys in the trial, it doesn't seem like they all drove to the kennels in one gator.
I don't want to spoil it, but you're about to reveal the lie? Are you getting to that? Well, originally he said that he didn't go to the kennels.
The 911 call. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
about
but
to
Well,
talk about
then he changed his story
it.
and said that he did go because of
Right.
his what?
Mhm.
So
I think
why did so what
So
was
he
that?
calls the cops right a little bit after 10 p.m., like a couple minutes. He calls the cops and says it's frantic. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I need an ambulance. I just found, my wife and my son. I, and then he's like, inconsolable a little bit. And then he's like, I think they're dead. Da, da, da. And a 911 operator's like, are they breathing? He's like, no, they're not breathing. The whole 911 thing. I'm on Moselle Road. This is my address. Please come, hurry up. Crying. Okay. Then the officers show up. Now remember, he is a prosecutor in this town. Okay.
Mhm.
So he is very, I don't want to say like law enforcement's corrupt, but if you're a law enforcement and you show up to the prosecutor's house, how are you going to react? Probably not investigating every single thing. You might just take stuff for their word. I don't really know. But it seems like some things at the scene were mishandled or just not looked into, as in, hey, how many gators? How'd you get there? You drove and she drove? Did they walk and you drove? Kind of situation. This stuff wasn't really handled. But he tells them that they kind of ask him when the last time he saw his wife and son were, and he's like, oh, earlier in the evening. He doesn't say that he was at the kennels with them.
Right.
Leaves that part out.
And is that true that he was not? And usually the husband is always like the first suspect.
The husband always did it, right?
Yeah, but if the husband's
the prosecutor,
in this,
and
But behind
they,
the scenes, they must have been thinking, "Oh man, something's going on here."
were they?
So
or I don't know. So they don't right away look at him as a suspect in the case. They're investigating these murders, yada yada. And then some time goes by. Do you have the timeline in front of you? How long was it between the murders and the roadside suicide or the roadside
so let's see.
or injury?
A few months.
So Alec is out there living his life, mourning his family, and a couple months later, he's driving to Charleston, and he gets a flat tire. He's driving Maggie's car. He gets a flat tire. Apparently, this car, they say that it's a Mercedes, and it's like the tires. Apparently, if it's flat, it could drive for like 200 miles on a flat tire. So they were very confused of why he pulled over to fix this tire anyway. So anyway, he pulls over and he's like, "Oh, a flat tire." His story is that he came by. His first story was that somebody was driving by and they saw him on the side of the road and they stopped to help. Well, instead of helping him, they shoot him in the head and drive off. But the bullet just grazed the side of his head. Luckily, didn't kill him, situation. It came out that was his cousin that was that fired the shot, and that Alec had basically hired him or maybe just talked him into killing him on the side of the road. That way, because if he died, then Buster would get some life insurance money from Alec being murdered. But if Alec committed suicide, Buster would not get any money from a settlement. Right. That's why that was all set up.
Yeah. It's shady.
This is one scheme after another with this guy.
Well, and we really we're sleeping on what I think is the protagonist of the whole situation, which is Paul getting away with the one girl dying. What was her name? Madison?
Mallory Beach.
Mallory Beach. Because
I get away with it. No, he was charged with murder.
He never spent a single second in a prison.
Hold on, let's finish like the story, and then we'll go to details.
Okay.
So then that happens, and he's like, okay, my life is out of control. I need to go to drug rehab. For what? His oxycodone addiction that he's had for years. It's out of control.
Yeah.
Like your family died, you try to have someone kill you, then you go to drug rehab. Get your life on track. And then he's arrested and charged with the murder of his family. So, and now we did the trial. He's convicted murderer. So, but some of the things that there's a lot of things that don't really make sense. He was convicted on what some would call circumstantial evidence. There was no definitive evidence of him committing these crimes.
So the one thing I want to mention before we get too much further is this case is the first one that I can recall where the whole Big Brother GPSing your phone, monitoring every single step that was made. It really is. This is going to set precedent for cases later, because the one thing, if I may interject real quick, well, actually, we can wait till later because I think you'll cover it. But they really monitored the hell out of everything that happened there that night.
So the murders, the one was murdered with a rifle and one was murdered with a shotgun. If somebody came in, if this was somebody like coming from the outside, why would they do that? And did the guns turn out to be guns owned by the Murdaugh family?
The guns were never found.
Well, how do they?
Well,
I
I
guess
thought
they can tell by the bullets.
I thought one of them was left behind, but it wasn't. I was mistaken.
Okay, so but an assassin, and I understand a lot of people have problems with this guy, so maybe somebody wanted to hurt him or his family. That's understandable. But why would they use two different weapons? Or why would he use two different weapons? Even I'm confused.
Unless there was two shooters.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with this is being a prosecutor. I would think that he would be, he would know what he would look for when prosecuting somebody. It feels like what he did was muddy the waters up as much as possible. Yeah, just to suspend disbelief. The one of the things that stands out to me in this whole endeavor, whatever you want to call it, is so there's about 2,000 steps in a mile, right?
Right. So just for 1 second. So there was a Snapchat video. This is the smoking gun. Okay. There was a Snapchat video. Remember how they went to the kennels to do the video of this dog's tail?
Yeah, we need to get this in.
Yeah. And so he's recording this video. It's like a couple minutes. I mean, it's a Snapchat. It's not that long. And he's trying to get the dog to like stay still so he can like get a shot of his tail on this video. The dog's wagging its tail. Well, there's 3 voices on that video. There's Paul's, Maggie's, and from what everyone testifies to, Alec. In the background, Alec and Maggie are talking about this other dog, Bubba. I don't know, maybe it was the same dog. I'm not really sure, to be honest. A dog there having a chicken in its mouth. Yeah, they're having a conversation about this dog having a chicken in its mouth. Like there was no, Alec did not sound deranged. There was no aggression. They're laughing about this chicken. He's got a chicken. Ah, that's a guinea. Like, yeah, and then Paul's just like, hey, but stop. I'm trying to get a shot of his tail, and that's it. But what they're saying is that's putting, I guess that's putting Alec at the scene of the murders, and then they get all this cell phone data that like traces like all these steps. I mean, it's crazy, the cell phone data that they got off these phones. Like, it's stuff that you would never even think that a cell phone could track.
And and you would also think that with the steps, my thinking is that if the steps are put in there, it's going to be an understatement for how many steps there are. More than likely, there was more steps rather than less.
Yeah, and did you ever does your pedometer ever really work on those?
Right.
Or it'll be like, stand up, and you're like, but I'm not standing, I'm not sitting.
Zeus, explain this. What step evidence did they? Because I haven't.
So from the time of the murder, if you go based on like 2,000 steps in a mile, he probably walked a mile. Who knows what directions? Who knows where to? After like calling 911 or after finding them, I think he actually finds them, and there's a bit of a gap in time before he actually calls 911.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the timeline right now at the.
But I feel like.
What were his steps before the? I mean, once he discovers the bodies, then he can walk wherever he wants to walk. But
and also those steps could have been in the gator, for all we know. It's not a perfect science, but it's pretty damn good. You know what I mean?
Did he
We don't
call
want to-
anybody before he called 911?
No.
Oh, he was calling people through the whole timeline. He was constantly calling people.
Who did he call before he called
So
911?
I'm pulling up this exact timeline right now. He did call some people, okay, like allegedly on the way to his mom's house, but it wasn't based on the timeline. He did not call anybody between the time that he found the bodies and he called 911.
Yeah.
That window
Before he reported finding the
Right.
body.
If that's when, saying that if he didn't kill them, then that would have been he didn't call anybody. But if he did kill them, then he called a bunch of people,
Well,
Okay.
and a lot of the calls that he made were like, it was clear that he called and they either didn't answer or they answered and he hung up. Like, I get a real vibe of he was really trying to muddy up the waters with his, like, an overflow of information to make it harder to pinpoint what was going on. Plus, if you look at the timeline, the one that I'm looking at least, it's on wjcl.com. They talk about, well, as I said, that the calls were short. But one of the interesting pieces of information is there was one period, and if I can find it, I'll come back to it later. I'll look for it while we're talking. But there was this one point where they found that he had driven by or slowed down at some point right at where they found her phone later. So her phone, the wife's phone, wasn't even on the scene. It was off somewhere else.
How did it get? Okay.
So yeah, you're skipping around a lot, Zeus. Okay,
I'm
so
sorry.
let's go back to yes, he gets the smoking gun is a Snapchat video. So let's go back to the Snapchat video. So at 8:44 p.m., Paul records this video. Okay, and you can hear the three voices on the video. This video did not come out until the discovery of the trial, like the discovery period. So initially he tells cops he wasn't there, then they discover this video. Okay. Placing him there. Then at 8:47, Paul sends a message to somebody. At 8:48, Paul again sends a message, and then so there's a couple messages between Paul, and then at 8:49, Paul Murdaugh's phone is locked. So lock the phone, or maybe he just because he wasn't using it for a period of time, the phone locked itself. You know how your phone locks.
8:38.
8:48 p.m.
8:48, but the murder they
Well, hold on.
9:05.
Yeah, so 8:49, 8:48, the last message was sent. 8:49, the phone locked.
Okay.
At 8:49 and 26 seconds. So 26 seconds later, Maggie's phone unlocks and she reads a message in a group chat.
Or assumed that she.
No, that she did. She did read the message.
No, but how do we know that it was her that was reading the message?
Oh, well, I don't know, but I'm just somebody.
The message was read.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maggie Murdaugh's phone unlocks and she reads another text in a group chat about somebody. 8:49 and 28 seconds. Maggie Murdaugh's phone accesses an application and implements an orientation change into landscape. You know, like you do.
I was wondering what they were talking
about. Like when you go like this and your phone changes to go to landscape mode. But it says she accesses an application and then implements the orientation. So that would be, to me, like if you're going to YouTube, you're in YouTube and then you turn your phone and it does the landscape change. That's accessing an application to make it go to landscape mode.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Because your phone, if your phone's not in an application and you do this, your phone screen's not going to turn like that, you know?
I want to say even with YouTube, it doesn't do that unless you have it set up to do it.
Right. Well, it defaults to that and a lot of people don't change it. I have it changed because I hate that.
Yeah, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I hate it. And then it never changes back and then it goes too far. Anyway. So then at 8:49 and 31 seconds.
You end up killing people because you're so mad about the landscape.
8:49 and 31 seconds, Maggie Murdaugh's
killing everybody.
Maggie Murdaugh's phone is locked for the last time and is not unlocked again until it's found the next day. So 8:49 and 31 seconds.
Also 8:49. Okay.
So that's That's the
Within,
assumed time that the murders
30 seconds
occur.
of each other.
Yeah. So she reads the message. And so she reads the message at 8:49 and 28 seconds. And the phone is locked for the last time at 8:49 and 31 seconds. So that's literally 5 seconds later.
Okay.
Okay. At 8:49 and 35 seconds, so 4 seconds later, Rogan Gibson, which is the friend that is actually the dog owner of the tail that they're looking at, texts Paul about, hey, see if you can get a good picture of that tail. Marianne wants to see it. Okay. And the text is unread.
And Marianne is a veterinarian.
That's a veterinarian, yeah.
So the Snapchat, I thought the Snapchat, it's going to a person on the other.
It was never
end,
sent,
right?
because
you don't just record Snapchat for nothing, right?
Right, but you can, if your reception's like kind of shoddy, you're not going to be able to send that Snapchat out. Like, you got to have better connection. You can
Oh,
get
it's not a live.
right.
Okay.
Well, it'll record and then it'll just post to the internet.
Yeah, like you'll send it, and then as soon as you get a better reception, it will send itself.
Oh, I see.
So investigators believe Maggie and Paul were killed around 8:50, 8:49, 8:50, near the kennels. Paul is shot twice with a shotgun, once in the chest and once in the head. Maggie is shot 5 times with a .300 blackout from an AR-style rifle. 2 of those shots are in her head. Okay. So then
in the back of the head?
It doesn't say.
Right now, okay.
8:53. So 3 minutes after.
Came surprised them or something.
Yeah. So 3 minutes later from the assumed time of the murder, 8:53 p.m., the orientation on Maggie's phone changes, waking the screen up to activate the phone's Face ID feature. But the phone remains locked, thus implying that the phone is picked up by someone that is not her. You pick your phone up, you put it to your face, it's activating its face reading stuff, and it reads a face. It's not the owner.
Unless you have no face left. And it may not work.
Can you hold the phone over a dead person's face and it would still, do you think it would still open?
I think it would still work, yeah.
Or your eyes, well, I guess the eyes could be open.
I don't really know how. I'm weary about that shit, so I don't have it. But there's some people that look totally different with makeup on and without makeup on, and they just the phone doesn't open when they don't have makeup on. Well, anyway,
if you're missing your face, I'm pretty sure that'll also.
Yeah, you got a face.
It's gonna throw it off.
So then,
or you could do the fingerprint thing, would work with a dead person, right?
Yeah, but they didn't use that. The phone did not do that. They did not access that feature on the phone. Okay. So 8:53 p.m. to 8:55 p.m., a 2-minute span, Maggie Murdaugh's phone records 59 steps. So they're saying that, okay, the murders occurred at 8:50. At 8:53, the murders are done. It took 3 minutes to murder the 2. He picks up the phone, looks at it, takes it, I guess, with him. And that's why the steps are being recorded, because he has the phone on his person while he's walking to the gator, walking to wherever. Who knows? And then Maggie Murdaugh's phone at 8:55 takes a snapshot of an open app running in the background, which I don't know how that works. If you can't open the phone, I didn't know that phones took snapshots of what you were doing at a certain time period. I don't know.
Actually, you can do a pocket. Sometimes you take a picture without even realizing.
Maybe.
Where'd that come from?
Maybe that's, that could be it. So then at 9:02, Alex's phone comes to life, is unlocked or whatever. And it records 283 steps. At 9:04, Alex calls his wife. Allegedly, from what Alex is saying, that's the phone call he calls Maggie to tell her that he's going to his dad's or his mom's to visit his mom. Right? 9:05, 9:04. Hey, gotta go. She didn't answer, whatever. He leaves. And she didn't answer, obviously, because she is dead. Then Alec places a phone call to his father, didn't answer. 9:06, the orientation again changes on Maggie's phone. At 9:06, again, Alex calls Maggie. There's no answer. 9:07. Then they start bringing in the OnStar data. So at 9:07, OnStar data records Alec getting in the car and leaving the Moselle house. So at they're saying that at 8:50 the murders occurred. Okay.
Right.
And he's there. It's saying that it takes 3 minutes for the murders. It lasts 3 minutes from when they start to finish the murders, right? So because he picks up the phone, allegedly. That's what happens. That's why they have that timestamp. So then between 8:53, when he's done murdering them, and 9:07, he had time to get back to the house, whether he's running or he's on a gator. Had time to change his clothes because that was a gruesome murder scene. Like, he had to have blood all over him. Shower, because now he has gunshot residue on him. I don't know what, they never found any bloody clothes or any like residue in the washing machine or anything about it. No thing that would implicate him in that way.
But
there's no murder weapon.
He left Moselle.
Right. So he leaves
And
Moselle.
he could have taken the guns and the bloody clothes with him.
He could have.
That could have been the excuse or the reason why he really left. And then
could
came
have
back 20 minutes later. Or
it
30
could have been.
Later.
So 9:07. So what is that? 7, 10. So 14 minutes. He does all that in 14 minutes. Gets back to the thing, decides he's gonna goes, calls, changes his clothes, whatever he does, showers. In 14 minutes, that's quick.
Possible if he had planned it in advance and said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do.
Well,
I'm gonna book it, shower real fast, shower the blood off you. It's gonna take 2 seconds. Like, you gotta that's a shower. You are taking a shower if you're cleaning blood off you. You're not taking a little quickie. You're doing a shower. You're washing 3 times and all that.
It should be noted that the clothes that he was wearing earlier in the day, because there's the video of him like with the tree. And I believe that was earlier in the day. The clothes that he's wearing there are drastically different than the clothes he's wearing when the cops pull up. Now,
right.
Well,
I mean, people change their clothes.
If I'm working in the yard, I get sweaty, and I usually come in and shower and change.
Or if you're an attorney and you just got home and you're wearing your suit and tie. I mean, I don't really know what clothes he's wearing.
Suspicious about the tree real quick, and I don't know if this came up, but to me, if you're out on the same day that murders happen, you're out knocking over a tree. You know what happens when you knock over a big tree?
It's not a big tree. It was like a sapling. It was just a tiny little.
Okay. My theory was going to be that because if you knock
makes
over
a hole.
a tree, it makes a big hole. Right?
No, they weren't like knocking out trees. The early in the day activities was he gets home. Remember, he gets home. Maggie wasn't there yet. Paul's at the house, and him and Paul were just on the property dicking around. Like, that's what they were doing.
Okay.
Nothing like really relevant, I guess.
So what time are we at right now?
So now we're at 9. So 9:06 calls the wife again. She doesn't answer. 9:08, it says Alex Murdaugh's vehicle drives by where Maggie Murdaugh's missing cell phone would be found. After passing that location, he increases speed quickly. Now,
okay, wait, stop with the phone. I got a question. If he did these murders and wanted to but why would he take only Maggie's phone and dispose of it, but not take both of their phones?
When he knew that obviously Paul has a phone because he was using it. He knows his kid has his phone.
He knows they both have phones. Why not take both of them?
It's a great question, Tom, sir.
What was the trial not address this? I need to be a lawyer. My gosh,
then maybe they thought that. I guess somebody asked that, and it wasn't like an attorney, but it was somebody that was maybe like a reporter or something. And there was somebody had come up with a theory that, well, maybe he didn't take the phone, Paul's phone, because he knew it only had 1% on it, so it was going to die anyway. So, I mean. But what? Why? That doesn't even make any sense. But also, why would he take Maggie's phone? Like, why are you going to dispose of Maggie's phone?
If you're going to either take both of them or you don't take either one. I don't understand.
I don't either. And it doesn't say, it doesn't necessarily say that where Maggie's phone was there a stop sign by where Maggie's phone was found? Was that a coincidence? He did a rolling stop through the stop sign, as one does in the country. And that also just was the place where the cell phone was ditched. I mean, it doesn't really place the two things.
If everybody slows down at that particular spot.
Was there a tractor in the road? Was there some idiot drivers in the road? Was there a squirrel?
Is that
You
where
don't
the
know.
hookers are normally standing?
Exactly. You don't know.
Those prostitutes that he always slows down for.
So then Alec texts his wife. So he calls her a couple times. She's not answering. So he decides to text her. Going to check on M, which is his mom. Be right back. Okay.
All right.
Then Alec calls his son Buster. And they talk for like a minute. 9:12. Alec calls a longtime friend and fellow attorney, Chris Wilson. And he was busy and asked him to call him back. They were on the phone for 2 minutes.
An attorney. Okay.
Yeah, an attorney friend. But he got a lot of attorney friends.
Well, yeah.
I mean, 9:18. Alec calls John Marvin Murdaugh, which is his brother. They are on the phone for 106 seconds. 9:20. Chris Wilson calls him back. Okay. They're on the phone for 3 minutes and he gets off the phone. According to the testimony, to Chris Wilson's testimony, he gets off the phone because Alex said he got to his mom's house, so he has to get off the phone. Okay, that tracks.
Okay.
So they're saying hold on, let's go back to when did he leave the house? So 9:07 to 9:22. That's the amount of time it takes to get from Moselle to the mom's house.
Okay, so not very far.
Not very far. I guess it says 9:22, like he arrives, blah, blah, blah. And the vehicle pauses halfway up the driveway and parks by the wood line away from the home.
Okay.
The speed of the trip, it also notes that the speed of the trip was faster than any trip he took that day, reaching 74 miles per hour, which,
well, whatever. It was 9 o'clock at night.
And so I haul ass all the time. I don't think that's relevant.
But at nighttime, there's no traffic, and you can.
And you're on a country ass road. You're not driving home from work you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah. So then
yeah, in and of itself, that's not incriminating.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, a little bit, but not necessarily.
And it says that so he's on the phone with Chris at 9:20. That call lasts 3 minutes, saying that if it started at 9:20, it would end at 9:23. But this is saying that at 9:22, he stops by the trees halfway up the driveway. Well, he could just be like stopping, like slowing down. Hey, I gotta go. I'm at my mom's house.
Talking.
Yeah. Okay, so 9:24, Shelly Smith, which I guess this is the caregiver of the mom, was there, and she does testify that he got there or whatever at 9:34. Rogan, which is Paul's friend that owned the dog.
If I can interrupt you one more time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming they checked these where he slowed down. They checked those woods and they didn't find the guns there, I guess.
Or the clothes. They were never found. So if that's what they're trying to say, I don't know. Well, I'm assuming they did because they found it enough to pull that data off the phone and think it was important. So I'm assuming they did, but they didn't find anything because they didn't find the clothes, if there were any, or the weapons.
Because I do that too. Because if you pull all the way up, then your headlights,
murder,
and you alert them that if you pull all the way up, then they see the lights and they know you're there. If you don't want them like getting alarmed yet, you just kind of slowly go up the driveway.
I guess.
I don't know.
Well, he's at his mom's house. I mean, he's probably not going to try to alarm anyone, or it doesn't matter. So anyway, okay. So then Rogan, which is that friend, he actually messages Alec because he's trying to get a hold of his friend that was just on the phone with him talking about his dog, and now I can't get a hold of him. He's like, what the hell? So then at 9:35, from 9:35 to 9:45, so in 10 minutes,
he's trying to get a hold of Paul. Did you say? I think.
Yeah. So the friend is trying to get a hold of Paul, but Paul is now dead.
Right.
Because he was just talking to him about his dog's tail.
Right.
So the friend Rogan decides to contact Alec to see what the hell. Where's Paul?
Like, who does
is that normal?
He does not read the text.
It's not normal at all.
That's not normal, is it?
It might.
If my
I can't
kid,
get a hold of my friend, I don't call their dad.
According to this story and everyone's testimony, like
I
that
guess it
Rogan was a
happened.
longtime friend. You know, maybe he was just that worried about his dog's tail that he was so needed to know 10 minutes later why his friend's not texting him back, or 45 minutes later, why the fuck I need to know what's going on my dog's tail right now. We need to go to the emergency vet or something. I don't know. So anyway, that message that Rogan sends to Alex, he did not read it. So 9:35 to 9:45, so 10 minutes, Alex Murdaugh's phone records 60 steps taken. So I'm assuming this is him walking up to the house, going in the house, sitting on his mom's bed. And then at 9:43, so I guess, I mean, that was, okay, whatever. So at 9:43, Alex's vehicle is taken out of park from the Alameda house, which is the mom's
so
house.
he's only at his mom's house for 10 minutes. 9:33 to 9:43.
9:24
or 9:20
to maybe 9:43. Yeah.
Like
So
about
20
19 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's taken out of park.
That's a
And
short
then
visit.
At 9:43, he puts the car in park. And then at 9:44, he takes the car out of park. And I don't know why they like focused on this. I don't know. You ever like put your car in park and then like for like go to look for something or try to find your phone, you put it back in park, you know, because I don't think that's even significant, but whatever. But they're trying to say that it was him because he was just nervous about doing shit. So he's like park, drive, park. I don't know, reverse shit. And then so at 9:47, so he's leaving the house because he's taking it out of park, or putting it in drive or reverse or whatever he's doing.
leaving mom's house.
Leaving mom's house. Alex calls Paul. Paul doesn't answer. Then Alex at 9:47 texts Maggie, "Call me, babe." The text goes in red. Obviously, she's dead. And then he sends another message back to Chris, that friend that called him. It says at 9:52, just says, "Call me if you're awake." So then Chris calls him back. They were on the phone. And then again at 9, it says that that's when the car driving back from the mom's to their house reaches 74 miles per hour. So it doesn't make any sense, because if he was, that would make more sense if he was leaving the crime scene than coming back to the crime scene
on the way back.
Yeah. So and then that's he returns to Moselle around 9:56. Now
Was
at
his testimony, was he worried at that point? Did he testify, I was thinking something might be wrong?
No.
And that's why he sped back?
I don't know.
All right.
I mean, he could have, maybe he's like, well, I don't know why they're Rogan's texting me. Maggie's not calling back. What the hell?
Right.
That could have been what prompted it.
Something must be up. I'm going to speed back home.
Yeah.
And go out to that dog kennel.
I don't know why he's calling them when he clearly already killed them.
Well, so he's Rogan
texting. Okay.
Again, so he gets to the house at like about somewhere between 9:56 and 10:06. That's a 10-minute. They're like not sure, because he gets there, and Alex's phone starts recording steps. It records 231 steps. That could be him going to the kennels. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's some more calls from Rogan that aren't answered by Paul, whatever, trying to text him, get a hold of him. And then at 10 o'clock, so they're not real sure. It's like 10:56 to 10:06. So they're not really sure when exactly that time was, but between that 10-minute span is when the steps were recorded. And then at 10 o'clock on the dot, I guess the OnStar data places Alec back at the house via GPS stuff. So he's at the house at 10.
All right.
So I guess he's doing the park reverse shit again. Maybe he has OCD. Who fucking knows?
Okay, let me ask another question. Well, I don't know if I'm jumping to the investigation, but so when the police arrived, because I guess you talked about the police showing up. Did they look for footprints? Were there any other footprints
were ever found?
Any other fingerprints or anything
no.
indicating that somebody else was there?
Mm-mm.
No tire tracks?
But they also didn't find Alex's footprints either.
What?
There were no footprints around.
But he admits that he was there.
Yeah, because he
Or
found him.
did he like brush away all the footprints? What did? How were there no
Maybe.
footprints?
I don't know, because I mean,
He
maybe it
used that
hasn't rained in
small.
100 days.
He
There's
used
not going to
that
be
small
footprints.
tree.
But also, if he murdered them, there would be bloody ass footprints from the kennels to the house, or in the gator, however he gets there.
Was it demonstrated that the way they were shot would have had some backsplatter? Or was there a way where he could have shot them where he would not have been covered in blood?
Well, okay, so they did talk about how this is just getting into little details, but Paul was killed. When he was killed, his first shot was a buckshot, so it blew his head off. There would have been backsplatter.
Okay.
Well, so here's the thing.
I mean, he would have been covered in blood, and there would have been bloody footprints.
I want
to murdering them.
I suspect that Paul was shot in the back of the head, because in my reading, at some point he said something like, "I wanted to turn him over, but then I decided not to." So that would lead me to believe that he fell forward.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
I don't really know. They also couldn't really determine who was shot first. You know, they're like, because they were trying to figure out who was it, Paul that he was trying to murder and Maggie was collateral damage, or was it Maggie he was trying to murder and Paul was collateral damage?
Or maybe they were both lawsuits that he knew he'd win for the insurance money.
No, because he asked Maggie, he specifically asked Maggie to come back from the beach house.
Mm-hmm.
So that would mean that she was a target.
And if he's trying to kill Paul, if Paul was the target,
if he just wanted to kill Paul, why would he invite the wife back home?
Right. And yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because if he killed Paul and wanted to kill Paul to begin with, he could have just like done that without her being there. But if she was there and she's like running to her baby, which, oh, my baby got shot, which if that's what they thought maybe happened, my baby just got shot, and she's running back to him, so that's why she has to be killed too. You know, if your son just got their head blown off, I'm fucking leaving.
No, because he had plenty of other opportunities. Paul and him were out there knocking over trees or whatever. He had opportunities to have Paul alone.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget the fact that 2 different weapons were used also.
Yeah, so 2 different weapons were used. So you're telling me, okay. So he murders them, okay? He murders them. There's no bloody footprints back to the house. Also, there's no weapons found.
Because he drove the gator.
Whether he drove the gator or he walked, whatever happened, there's no blood. There's no blood in the gator. There's no blood in the drain. They tested the drain. Like if he would have showered, he took a fucking quickie shower, scrubbed all the blood and brain matter and guts off of him that fast, booked it out of the house in 14 minutes, somehow ditched the clothes and the weapons, still made it to his mom's house and back. And the thing that could have accounted for that was the fact that he was driving 74 miles an hour to get there.
Well, he obviously went to his mom's house and came back. He did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in question.
No.
So that it's not like, he didn't have time to do that. He definitely did that.
But the prosecution is saying he left to his mom's house to create an alibi, and on the way to his mom's house, he ditched that phone. And then
the phone and the guns, probably.
And the guns and the clothes. But where were the guns and the clothes?
Did he cross over a river at some point?
No. And it's like I said, they like tested the drain in the shower at his house to see if he showered. And then because if you showered in like a quick fashion, there's going to be blood residue in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
So there was none. So
it's interesting that's not brought up in any of this, at least not that I've seen, is there's no talk of different tire tracks there. Like
no. Well,
a mysterious vehicle that doesn't show up on the roster.
So when he gets back to the house, Alec actually drove the car to the kennels, I guess. He just decided he ain't gonna fuck with walking or getting in a gator. He's just gonna drive the car back. And so then he gets there, he drives the car back. It says at he gets there at 10:05. He puts the car in park at the kennels via GPS data at the kennels and at 10:05, and the 911 call is placed at 10:06.
He could have done it because there's been like I've seen stuff on TV where the murderer will put on a Tyvek suit and then go in and then commit the murder, and then you can like take it off and dispose of that.
But where was it?
Take it off at the crime scene and kind of bundle it up. Then it's got all the blood and everything on there.
Okay.
But
where was that then?
Well, he got rid of it somewhere.
Where?
With the gun.
He dig a hole and bury the shit in there, and in less than an hour dug a huge hole that can never be recovered. I mean, but he didn't put the phone in there. That hole
just
either.
Put it in a dumpster somewhere, and it could have got picked up.
Well, the phone could have been trash. Clearly.
I mean, he could have put it in a dumpster, but I mean, then you got some really dumb investigators don't look at the fucking trash cans on the way.
Well, not his dumpster, but
some country ass road. But if you're an investigator, wouldn't you look in that? And then the GPS data didn't say that he took some weird way, like he went out of the way to go, to Quick Trip and dump it off. He then went back to his mom's. Like, it didn't say that. So I'm like, where's the clothes and where's the weapons? Okay, I don't know. Who knows? Nobody knows where it's at. So
could he have had an accomplice that?
Could there have been an accomplice? Could this have murder to hire? I think that it could have been that there were two people that wanted him dead or wanted to hurt him in some way because all the fucked up shit he's done in the past, hiding in the rafters of that kennel barn thing that they got. They had it. There was a separate. I mean, this kennels have again, but it's not muddy. What are you gonna leave footprints with? If you kill somebody from like an upward trajectory,
you said there would be bloody footprints,
right? But not if you're not if you're not standing on the ground.
Well, how did they get away? Are they still there?
Maybe they're in the rafter. I mean, I don't know, but these other folks could have done the same thing you're talking about, have a suit, brought the suit with them.
But then why would he lie about not being at the kennel? He only admitted he was there when the video showed up.
So that's why they're like, oh, well, you lied, so that means you're guilty as fuck. And so that's really the circumstantial evidence, that video, and then all of these steps that the cell phone and OnStar's recording are saying, though because of these things, it's placing you here, there, everywhere, and at the scene at the crime, and so because of that circumstantial evidence, you are guilty. Now, I mean,
okay, let me ask you
if you're an investigator,
we're deep into this, so I'm going to ask you, what do you have an opinion?
Well, hold on, let me answer your first question. If you're an investigator and you're a cop and a lawyer that knows lawyer shit, knowing that the first person that investigator is going to implicate is you, friend.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're not going to tell him that you were there earlier, that would be my thinking. It comes out that
but you're starting off. Yeah.
So everyone knows the husband always did. It's first person. It comes out later because remember he went to rehab. What he says is he lied to the cops because he was so fucking high on oxy that he was like, I just freaked out and I don't know, I just said some shit. Okay, well, he didn't seem to be high on oxy when he's talking about the chicken.
Yeah, all the phone calls and driving to his mom's and talking to the housewife
and no one says he was fucked up, and it wasn't saying he was driving erratically, like
weird.
and
so,
then go ahead.
If he was stoned on oxycodone or oxycontin, whatever, he would if you listen to the 911 call, he doesn't sound doped up at all. He sounds disinterested in a weird way.
Now,
like that didn't add up, the 911 call. It seemed strange to me.
But see, 911 calls are weird because people grieve differently. I don't know how I would act. I think I would also act very stoic because in my head, I would automatically go to like, I can't freak out right now. I got to solve the problem.
Right.
But I mean, he also had said that he had a $50,000 a week fucking oxycodone addiction. So if you're taking $50,000 with oxy a week, you gonna be fucked up on the phone.
His dealer's making a lot of money.
Either your tolerance is so high that you can take all the oxy and you don't even sound high, which that's too much oxy. I mean, that's too much. Or you were really stupid and your drug dealer's making a fuck ton of money off you, friend.
I mean, he's not street savvy enough to know what the right price would be, I guess.
Yeah.
I could see him pay.
I lean towards the contrary of that. This guy is crafty as shit.
Yeah, but you can't take 50 grand
Not
worth of
if
oxy
he's
in a week
paying.
and be functional.
You can't take 50 grand of oxy in a year.
That's what
Come
I'm
on.
saying. So like,
Yeah,
some,
that's
that doesn't add
like
up.
some stuff is weird. Yes.
So why did he say that then? Was he trying to account for some missing money or something?
It could have been. I mean, maybe he was trying to account for the money, some money that maybe, this is another theory, maybe Maggie found out about this money, sort of like under the table, like aside from the lawyer situation at the firm. And then she confronted him about it. And then like she maybe asked where $50,000 a week was going. I don't know. Like it's
So,
really strange.
couple things from my perspective. I feel like there was definitely a third party in the wind. We're never gonna find them. But here's something to consider. We're assuming that all witnesses are truth tellers. If just the lady that was the caregiver for the mom was her moral compass was sullied to a degree, then that leaves an entire hour where Alex could have never even left the property, done a lot of stuff in that period, and then whoever was actually driving the car.
They had the data of the
They
car.
had the
going
OnStar
there.
data.
They know
Right,
he
but-
went there.
Well, they don't know that he went there. They know the car went there. Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean, that would be a lot
True.
because all like pretty much everyone that's testifying has kind of the same story. Like that has to be, and yeah, he's calling all these people, but they're not answering. So he's not really talking to them. The only person he really talks to is that Chris dude, his friend. All the other calls are like seconds long, or they're like, missed
And
calls.
not just the car, Zeus, but his phone went there also. Right?
Well, yeah. What?
Yeah,
You
his phone.
put a phone in a car. I'm saying, for me,
But then who drove the car?
Yeah, no, because people
whoever his
spoke to him.
accomplice
No,
was,
Zeus.
this clearly could not have been
because
done
people
by
spoke to
one
him on the phone, on that phone, like people that knew him.
Not
it had
during
to
the
be
ride
him.
to the mom's house.
It had to be it had to be him that went to the mom's house. Because
Okay.
people talk to him on the phone, and the phone can be traced.
I don't think he used the phone
He
during
did while he was driving. He was making these phone calls and everything, and texting people.
Let's see.
So to answer your other question, I think that I'm with Zeus. I think there's got to be someone else. Also, the 300 blackout used in these murders was stolen 8 months prior from their house. It was Paul's gun was stolen from the house, or he misplaced it, or he lost it, whatever. It was no longer in his possession like 8 months prior to this murder. And it could have been a coincidence that also whoever murdered him used a 300 blackout, but
That's the shotgun.
I mean, so here's something interesting.
Okay, but is it a 2-shot? Is it a double, like 2 barrels shotgun thing?
No. So
blackout
the first,
maybe that's all he had was the 2 bullets in there, and then that's why he used a different gun for the wife.
could have been.
One was
but
one
you
was
didn't.
16 style rifle, and the other one was a shotgun.
Right, but I'm saying, and that normally has just 2 bullets, and he shot the son twice.
What do you mean normally has 2 bullets? What? I don't understand.
You loaded with 2 bullets.
Like you're talking about a double barrel shotgun. I don't think it was a double barrel shotgun.
Yeah, most shotguns hold like 9 shells.
Because this is why I don't think it was. So Paul was shot with the 300 blackout. He was shot the shot. So okay, how you load a gun? There was multiple shots.
Wait. I thought mom was shot with the
Mom was shot 5 times. She was shot with the shotgun.
Rifle. No,
I thought she was shot with the AR-15.
No, the son was shot with the shotgun.
Now
I thought we said he blew his head off.
Yeah, he blew his head off.
With the rifle or the shotgun?
I don't know. I don't think it matters. I don't really think it matters, to be honest, because the way you load guns, it doesn't matter what they are. You got buck shots and you got duck shots. You can put those in either one.
Yeah, the shell's the same size, so.
Yeah. You can, I mean, I guess there's the 300 blackout ammunition would have been different,
Some
but it's just a
shotguns
different
you
size.
just
It's the same,
put it in there one at a time, though.
right? But not the shotgun you're thinking of. This is just a rifle. This is not like a double barrel like sawed off that you're probably thinking of.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
probably
not
like a
Elmer Fudd's gun.
monster.
Something different.
So here's if we
Anyway,
can
he
go
was
in-
he was. Let me talk about the duck shot. So he was shot. So the way you load a gun, you load it with your buck shots, and then the first bullet that is going to come out of the chamber is going to be a duck shot. Because if you think about it, if you shoot somebody, something, whatever you're trying to shoot, even if you're trying to shoot deer, you're going to use a duck shot first because it's not going to blow its head off, or you're going to use a duck shot first because in case you accidentally shoot somebody, it doesn't kill them. Okay. And then everything to follow is a buckshot gonna kill your target. The first one stuns, the second shot kills. He was shot with a buckshot first.
Okay,
and
that's
then a duck shot.
incriminating. Well, wait, no, just the fact that it's hunting bullets.
They're all hunting, all bullets. I mean, they just
Right,
that's
and
just
this
what they
was
call
on a
them.
hunting,
Right.
the land where they like to go hunting.
Mm-hmm. But
So it
all, but
wasn't
they're
just like any old, like an
Yeah, it coulda just
AK-47
been-
or
right. So,
something.
yeah. Well, no.
This
well,
is
so
hunting. They
Any
were
bigger
shot with
gun
hunting.
that's not like a 9mm or like a Glock, they're gonna be. They're all just called duck shots or bird shots. It's just what they refer to them as. I don't know. Like there's a different ammo to fit different guns, but you either got duck shot or bird shot.
Well, no, I mean, it's the one with the pellets. If it's a bunch of pellets in there, that's the buckshot, right? And that's usually like
that's
a
Well,
the
both
bird
of
shotgun.
them.
shot.
Both of them have pellets in them. Buckshot
It's just
is
gonna-
meant to shoot a
I mean,
deer.
you can have a bullet without the pellets in there, right?
Right.
That's
But
They're all
called
the
a
same
slug,
size.
and yes.
And they might be different
No.
sizes to fit different
Well-
guns, but they're all, I mean, you have, doesn't matter what gun they go in, you have your buck shots, and then all the other ones you got your deer shot or your bird shots, duck shots, buck shots, duck shots, buck shots.
And so
They're all
buckshot
different
is,
kind of guns, but
I'm assuming the term buckshot means that you would shoot a deer with it,
Yeah.
i.e. buck.
Mhm.
So the duck shot would be the smaller
Bird.
pellet ones that are more likely to not kill a person but will decimate a bird.
no, if you if you shoot a bird with a bird shot, it's not going to blow it to pieces. If you shoot a bird
Right.
with
But
a
I
buck
mean,
shot,
but-
it's shit's going to fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
almost like whoever loaded that gun did it like that on purpose to blast someone's head off.
yeah.
Because if
Perhaps.
you're not doing that, you're not loading that gun like that.
But the first
Well,
shot,
and why would you load
was in
your
the
gun
head, though.
with a ammunition that's meant to kill a certain type of animal and then follow it up with an ammunition that is intended for a different kind of animal? Just it all seems very hinky.
Well, no, if you ask anyone that hunts and that has like rifles and shit, they will tell you that's how you load a gun. Your first shot's always your
Right.
bird shot followed by all the ducks. You stun shot and your kill shot. So I
Gotcha.
mean, and mainly that's for safety, so you don't accidentally
And-
shoot your buckshot first and hit a human.
and
then blow them to
Alex was
fucking
an
pieces.
avid hunter, right?
Yeah, they all were.
Okay.
So you
But
would
an
know
assassin
that.
from the outside or an accomplice from the outside might not be.
Maybe not, but if you live
So
in the low
this
country of
makes-
South
this is kind of
Carolina, you also might
incriminating.
be.
So now,
I don't know.
This makes me think that Murdaugh did it.
oh, I don't know if he actually did the shooting himself, but I'm completely convinced that he was privy to all of this, probably paid for it.
Yeah. I
pulled
mean,
in
he
a
tried to
favor.
pay his cousin to shoot him. I mean, there's a lot of paying
But
people
that
here.
came to light. And
Right.
nothing came to light about anybody helping out on this night.
No, because they got away.
Right.
You're not
He-
going to be
he-
like, hey, I
he's
didn't
gonna
kill him, but
recommend-
I paid for it. You're not going to say that.
No. He's hoping
But
he
he's
gets
turned
off on
over
it.
evidence, like with the housekeeper falling down the steps. He's gone back and changed the story on that.
So he can't, yeah. So
But
that was the
nothing's gone
information
back
that
and
came out
changed.
today or yesterday that he said that the new information is he did, you know what? He did lie about them dogs tripping her down the stairs. They weren't involved. That's really all he said,
They weren't involved.
that there was no dogs that she tripped over.
Well,
That's
one
just
would
what he
think-
said.
No, that was the original story.
No,
I
he
think
said the original story was that she may have tripped over the dogs, and that's how she fell down the steps.
Well, because that would then there would be reason to sue him if she tripped over his dogs.
Right. But now he's saying, actually, there were no dogs, so they can't sue him because he doesn't have any money because he's broke as fuck.
Yeah, wouldn't they have been
All
in
the
the
situation?
kennel? Wouldn't the dogs have been in the kennel anyway?
Yeah.
No, this was the housekeeper. This was like years before.
Right, but that.
So how did
mean
she fall down the steps? Alec wasn't even there when she fell down the steps, first of all. Paul may have pushed her. Maggie may have pushed her. She may have slipped.
I mean, that one was
Maybe
not
she had
murder.
Actually, wait.
That
I don't
was just
think
a scheme for money.
I don't think Paul would have, because I remember from the documentary that Paul was very, very close with the lady that fell down
The whole
stairs.
family was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't a murder. That was just
Or was it?
did a scheme to make money.
But at the beginning, you guys said a lot of people are
accidental.
dying suspiciously around them. Like, why is this happening?
Accidental death.
Because she didn't die. She died like later. I mean, she could have said something.
She was in a coma. She was unable to speak.
So she never said anything.
No,
Yeah.
she had a massive brain bleed.
So let's each give our theories, what we think happened.
I want to hear Tom's first.
I don't see anything inconsistent with him committing the murder. I mean, throughout the whole discussion, I'm looking for something that would be impossible. I don't see anything that wouldn't fit in line with him being the murderer.
Well, I mean, disposing
Hold on,
of the
say
gun,
that again. Like, so you think the timeline fits? I mean, like tracks. It doesn't. There's no like.
Yeah.
How could, if he murdered them, he could not have taken that timeline, or?
No, I don't see anything inconsistent with him being the murderer. I think,
but except for the fact that he didn't find the weapons or any bloody clothes.
He left the crime scene and then came back.
And came
so
back
that means he could have gone out and disposed of it somewhere.
Did they do a GSR?
Yeah, but where?
Hey,
they did a GSR. There was a trace.
Luckily, they found the phone, but they didn't find the other stuff. So obviously, he was disposing of things.
Did you hear that, Tom? What we were just talking about?
They did do a GSR, and they said they found like trace, not enough to have killed people with two separate guns. There and like some, but not. I mean, enough.
So what's your theory, Tom?
Some. I mean, some as in I touch guns because I own a fuck ton of them.
But like he could have been wearing the Tyvek suit, though.
I could have been.
Because that's why there's no blood. And then,
he could have been.
So, I mean, everything is still consistent with him being the killer.
Again, how do you say that it's consistent? They didn't find any weapons.
Because he's saying
because he left
but he's saying the timeline
scene.
Makes sense. It matches. He's placed the crime in a timeline makes sense. Yeah, they didn't find it. Maybe he was really good at hiding it. It doesn't make any
sense that he would go to his mom's house all of a sudden. I mean, she's got.
But it does because the dad is in the hospital, so he needs to go check on her. That's what he's.
Why? She's got dementia.
I don't know. Maybe because people with dementia
She's not gonna remember
if they're out of if something happened out of the norm, like their routine. If their routine is deviated from, they get real weird. More. It gets worse than it is.
So did he visit her like every night at 9:00 p.m.?
No, he just wanted to see what. I'm just saying, like that's
suspicious. I learned from Columbo. If you ever do something that you don't normally do, that's a sign.
Maybe suspicious, but also maybe tracks the fact that his dad was in the hospital, has to go check on mom because she's got dementia and she might be going fucking bonkers right now.
A more likely scenario that's a good excuse to leave the crime scene and then come back after only 19 minutes.
Okay. Yes, that's a good point. But you're telling me that after all the things that conspired that day on June 7th, after he got told that he has to pay all the money back, and then his dad's in the hospital, from the time that he finds those things out, which who knows what time that is, we'll say mid-afternoon to 9 or 8:50 p.m. He plans all this shit out and just gets the idea.
I'm not saying he planned it during that, right at the spur of the moment. He could have planned it in advance.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a.
But why would he plan it in advance? Like before that
Because
day,
you
he
need to
didn't even
know,
have a
okay, where am I
reason.
going to get rid of these guns where they can't be found? He has to have a plan in advance. And
Right, but
obviously
they're
he
saying
did.
that if the fact that he got caught up with the money and had to pay it back and couldn't get the money from his dad who was going to die in the hospital, that's all the motive they're saying. So why would you plan it
Right.
before that at any point?
Well, it's not like that all happened immediately. I mean, that
It
must have been
did.
building up.
No, but it did. So on June 7th, the attorneys, his firm said, hey, you got to pay us the money back. We caught your ass red-handed. Pay the money back. So he's like, okay, well, I'll just get the money from my dad because that's who he gets money from. His dad's now in the hospital about to die. Shit, fuck, my plan's out the window. What do
His
I
dad
do? Kill
wasn't
my
at all
family?
sick.
What?
If your dad is old and sickly, you're aware of that.
Yeah,
And he must
he
have been
did.
thinking, okay, what am I going to do if I can't get this money from my dad?
Right. He did have lung cancer. So they knew that. That was known.
Okay.
But it, because if your dad dies, that's an inherent, that's going to take time.
Yeah.
Okay. But he must have been thinking of a backup plan.
He could have been, but maybe he
I
wasn't.
think
He's a schemer. So,
Maybe, yeah, he is
he's
scheming, right?
he's beyond just a schemer. He's educated in what people look for, in these situations.
okay. So
He's an
what do you
attorney.
guys think?
So I'm going to give you my theory. I have two theories. One is that Paul lost his gun earlier, 8 months back, maybe to buy drugs or alcohol or
Or he was
pay
just
off.
stupid and left it somewhere.
Well, I tend to think that maybe he gave it to somebody in exchange for something, and therefore you'll see why I'm saying this. And for instance, in the documentary, there's this one guy. It's the one who's the boyfriend of the girl that died, who consistently says that he doesn't hate Paul, that he was mad for a while, blah blah blah. So I have a little bit of squirreliness with that guy. Like, what better way to look like you didn't do it than to be a forgiving,
Okay.
kind-hearted person, wait a year, and put two in the back of the guy's head.
Hey, that's a good theory.
With the gun. Because that guy, he seemed nice, but I just can't imagine. He was clearly in love with the girl. He was
have an alibi.
Well, hold on. At the scene of the boat crash, he was like, "You motherfucker!" Like he was ready.
He
to
was going
kill him.
off. Yeah.
He was going off, like hateful.
He was like the cops had like he was lunging at Paul like during when they on the boat crash night. Yeah, like he wanted to fucking murder him right then.
He's one suspect. However, I actually feel pretty strong about that one. But I think, again, I lean towards Alec Murdaugh. Of everybody there, would be the best suited to know how to make a crime scene so full of information that it actually starts becoming disinformation. And honestly, in a matter of about an hour, there were so many calls, so many steps, so much going on, that I think that he did not do it, but there was somebody there. He's like, you go do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to
like
drive out there. Yeah. And then I'm going to come back and act all surprised and you be gone.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking about car tires and whether they found any other car tires, which did they not, or you just don't know?
They didn't mention any. I mean, they said there was no footprints found. So, and that I mean, you're not, but again, if you are living in an area that's not muddy and gross, I mean, are you going to have footprints?
What was the surface? Was it gravel there or what?
It looks like it was like a rock kind of dirt road around where the kennels were.
Like maybe that's
there could have
foundation.
Been some tire prints there. I don't know. Maybe these.
Well, no, I don't think tire prints would have been there. I imagine the kennels were far from the entrance. Like, somebody could have driven up to the entrance, never even went onto the property, have the two guns, go do the business, leave.
Yeah, or another theory was that this was a conspiracy thing, and Alec was there, and like him leaving was like the keyword. Like, I'm gonna leave the kennels, and then you come in, do the business, and I'm gonna come back, like you were saying.
Yeah,
like that was the whole there. Like.
He's going to confirm that they're there, and then if he leaves, they know to go in. If he stays, they know it's a no-go. Yeah, that man, they're both. I really feel like vengeance could have been a big part of this, but
Yeah,
I
there's a
feel
lot of people
more
that probably
like,
don't like him.
as I've said
But
before,
why say that you weren't there then? If that
Because
was the trigger.
plausible deniability. He says that
Mhm.
he's not there because he's not there.
Because also no,
Because
why
he
was
was.
it? Because he's you know he's
But
saying why
later
would he
he
say
said
that
he
he
was
wasn't there with the family?
Oh,
That
okay.
he wasn't with the kiddos. I don't think that he okay. I don't think that he was straight out like I was at these kennels. What it says when he was the investigator like had this all recorded when he was talking to them. He didn't specifically say that. He just said that he hadn't seen his family. He wasn't with his family prior to this. I mean, he didn't specifically say I didn't go to them kennels before. He didn't say that. So I mean, again, he's an attorney. He knows the husband always did it, and that's the first one that they implicate. You're the first
Absolutely.
suspect. So maybe he's
Oh,
just
good.
like, shit, I wasn't there. Fuck, I'm not trying to get investigated for this one. You know?
So you're there, just to be clear, Zeus, you're saying before we get to Des, your
I'm
theory is
torn.
that he was involved, but maybe not the primary killer.
I'm torn between vengeance and everything that he said was true, or I lean more towards he was involved and there was a third party, clearly a professional. If there's no footprints, they used two different weapons. They,
If he knew of a professional, why didn't he hire the professional to kill him? Why would he hire this bumpkin
It was
cousin of
cousin.
his?
Well,
because he didn't. Who says that his
or maybe
cousin
he
was
did.
ever intending on killing him? Who says that the idea wasn't to,
No, because he needed to get money.
Yeah,
Because
he wanted
then
him
the
to
money
kill him.
wouldn't go to his son Buster if he didn't get killed. He needed to get killed.
But
He's just say he didn't pay him to kill his family and then kill him later.
I don't feel like the shot to the head was anything more than exactly what happened being
To me,
intended.
it's consistent with being the murderer because
But
if
you
got to
be real good on that
you're
shot
going
to
to jail.
disgrace.
You're like, okay, I can't commit suicide because then my son gets nothing. But if somebody kills me, then my son gets $10 million.
Yeah, or you could just be mourning the loss of your
That's
family and
consistent
want to
with
kill
being-
yourself, but you
being a
know that you
murderer.
can't.
Does a person that was stealing money from everybody, do all this criminal behavior, does that sound like the person that's all of a sudden going to be altruistic with?
But he didn't get any money by getting grazed on the head.
No, but had he been able to prove that people were out to get his family, he may not have even lost his money. He may have been able to.
That would have had to been a good shot though.
That are already dead.
If somebody shoots you in the head and purposely just grazes you, I mean, fuck, that's a good shot. That's a good shot.
These guys are all hunters.
Yeah, but you gotta. I mean, I don't remember them talking about the gun that he used. Did it have a target on it?
The only reason why he would try to prove that people were out to get him is if people were not out to get him, which means he's the murderer.
I honestly think that you guys are looking way too much into it. I think that he was really just trying to die to get the money for his son, and he was
yeah.
But what I think that shows is that shows a history of him paying people to kill people.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, no, because in that case you can't suicide. You can't commit suicide.
Yeah, but you can pay somebody to kill you.
You have to pay. In that case, he needed somebody to do it.
Yeah, so if he's gonna pay, if he has the money to pay for his cousin to kill him, he has the money to pay somebody to kill his family.
Well, we know he's got plenty of money. Okay, but what is
and why the fuck did he not kill Buster?
I was just thinking that.
What did Buster ever do to anybody?
I don't know, but why would he just off them all?
He may have been gay and
yeah, and he's gonna kill that Steven guy. I mean,
Buster wasn't there that
right,
night.
but he could have asked him to come over for a family din. You know,
and if I remember correctly, also from the documentary, Buster, they didn't go as far into it because he's the cleanest of this bunch, but he had more than just like the gay kid. He was like, I think, an alcoholic, or he was a problem as well.
All right.
I really think that, again, I don't like the term assassin because that makes it sound like, he's the president of the United States, but a hired gun. I think there was a hired gun involved. They were relatively professional, and they are sitting on Easy Street. Now, the interesting thing is you would think that there would be a large sum of money that was at some point or another transferred to somebody.
Yeah, but not if you're dealing with cash. I mean, you had a $50,000 a week drug problem. Maybe you're
Okay.
just pocketing that money for future
So,
murders. Who knows?
guilty or not guilty?
That's
So-
assuming that
So
everything
you're
that they
saying
said was
you're
true.
saying guilty by conspiracy.
Who's
Choreography.
Okay. So I think this is what I think. I think he probably was somehow involved. I don't think he pulled the trigger, but ultimately, I don't care whether he did it or he did not do it. The fact for me, they don't have good enough evidence to, beyond a reasonable doubt, convince me that he did it. He probably did. I mean, based on the fact that he's kind of a scumbag. But I mean, there's no DNA. There's this shoddy cell phone data. I mean,
him saying that he wasn't at the kennel, and then the
Mhm.
recording shows up with his voice on it, that at the kennel, putting
But
him
I can't-
at the crime scene
right.
at
But
the
I can explain
time
that away.
they were killed.
Yeah. But
Within a
everything can
minute-
be explained away
Yeah, that right after the
and give you an
minute
alternate thing.
that recording goes off, they're dead. Like
I don't know if it was the
8:49.
minute.
Right.
but
So
the-
you're saying, and in a minute, so in 1 minute, literally 1 minute,
He didn't have his voice there, and then a
aggressive.
minute later they're
and then the
killed and
next
he's
minute,
gone.
he's shooting his family. He's talking about a chicken in 1 minute, and the next minute he's shooting his family. I don't know. And that's why I think that the cell phone data, I don't think that it was 1 minute and 1 minute. That can't be, that
Okay.
cannot be true. That
But
cell phone
he's
data has to
there.
be off.
He's
He
at
might
the
be
crime
there.
scene.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. If he was there and he left, that was like the signal. I don't think he pulled the trigger if he was involved. And just, I mean, it's your house. You're at places at your house. I mean, it's not like they were meeting up at, the back alley and he also happened to be there too. I mean, it's your own
Maybe
house.
chicken was the signal.
I mean,
when
if
he
you
yells out
and your
chicken.
wife, listen, if you and your wife are in the garage and then you go into the house because you got to pee or something, and then 1 minute later somebody runs up and shoots your wife, leaves, you come out to the garage again because you're done peeing, and she's dead.
Yeah, that's a
You're
good
like,
point,
"Fuck,
because he didn't know that they were going to be at the kennel. That it was the son's idea all of a sudden to go out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, because I was thinking maybe he had his guns planted there, and when they got there, he was going to grab the guns.
Well, they
So
had
he
a
didn't
run-
know they were
they
going to
had
be
a-
there.
They had a gun room in that kennels area because it's a hunting ground. They got the dogs and the
Okay.
guns in one spot. Go dog, gun,
But
leave.
he didn't plan with all the. So okay, so this throws a wrench into my theory, because he was all this premeditation that I thought he had. He could not have premeditated that they were going to be at the kennel that night.
I don't know.
Because
We don't
it
know
was the
what
son's
conversation
idea to go
went
there.
Because the dog's tail had mange or whatever happened.
Right. He didn't know
We
about
don't know
that.
what conversations were had off the the cell umbrella.
And so, and it's just, to me, I'm like, so literally 1 minute, he's not aggressive. He's talking about a chicken and laughing about the dog having chicken in his mouth. And the actual next minute, he's shooting his family in a crazy rage. I just don't think that. I think 14 minutes is too short of a time to have done all the things, run back, shower quickly enough to where you don't have any evidence on you. I think that time is too short to me. And again, there's no, I don't like people being convicted on
if you wanna keep
circumstantial
them
evidence that's
at
not good
ease,
enough.
I mean, if you want to keep them at ease so that you can shoot them without them fighting back, you could just kind of
Or
talk
the
about
guy-
chickens.
Or maybe
How about
somebody meant to kill all of them and he fucking leaves. And then murderer was like, oh God, he left. Well, I'm just going to kill them, whatever, kill him, book. I mean, it was the middle of nowhere. Wasn't
Would
muddy.
the murderers know that they were going to be out there that night?
And well,
How did
here's
they?
my
I don't
thing,
know.
is we're all
They're
painting
just
this
sitting
as
there in the
though-
cornfield waiting for people to
Yeah,
come.
dude. Yeah. They're just in the field waiting to the right time. I don't know.
Well,
Oh,
here's
right.
my thinking is this where I don't feel like you guys are like being too kind to him, but we're all assuming that this guy isn't capable of killing his wife and his child via somebody else or himself.
Mhm.
So who's to say he's not giddy with anticipation about getting rid of these two fucking anchors?
They've been there all your life.
As he walks out of the kennel, his guys are already waiting there, and he's just like, all right.
That's true.
Could be.
Psychologically,
Could
like
be.
somebody that commits suicide, the happiest they are is like right once they make up their mind that they're going to commit suicide, they're like really happy.
Or
Isn't
murder.
that true?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or that's
Yeah.
possible. That's a good point.
So again, if we go under the assumption that he's a piece of shit, which I'm fine with, anything's game. I think, like I said, and as I picture it, I picture like you'd see in a movie, like, I'm not going to kill you. Juan is going to kill you. And then he walks out and boom. Kid gets it twice in the back of the head, because I'm pretty sure he got shot in the back of the head. And then mom comes running, gets shot as she's running towards them. It's a visual that you can definitely get in your head.
I got some doubts. I got questions.
Let me ask one more question. So they didn't find the guns. So the ballistics couldn't match up to any of their guns, but were there any guns that were missing from the Murdaugh
Those
home?
two.
Yeah, the one 300 blackout was.
Well, yeah, but that was missing like months earlier.
Right.
But there weren't like two guns all of a sudden missing off the gun rack that night.
No.
Both guns that were used to murder were missing.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying
did they bring their
look
own?
over at the gun rack and there's two guns missing that night that they couldn't find?
So no, they didn't, except for that 300 blackout, but that was predetermined missing.
No, that was reported lost like 8 months before.
But it wasn't reported lost. It was just lost.
Okay,
Everyone knew that. But they didn't call the cops on it. Yeah.
But it wasn't one where it's like, okay, all of a sudden, I'm sorry.
I'm out of ammo. I got to grab another gun off this rack. No, that gun was not off the rack, but it also wasn't found. So.
You know what I'm saying? Murdaugh didn't.
Extra one leaning up against the wall. I don't know.
Alex did not report that there were weapons missing.
No.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a compatriot involved, and they're probably sitting on a beach, drinking Mai Tais, watching Netflix to see the documentary on the Murdaugh
the work they did.
murders, yeah, and just laughing hysterically. Anyway,
Tiger King. Did he?
Tiger
King.
Wouldn't that be funny?
What's that?
Well, he's with Tiger King now. He's in prison.
No, if Tiger King had been the co-conspirator.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, right.
Well, there's a lot of shadiness with that one too. Anyway, guys, have we been on long enough?
We've been on so long, and I have to pee, so we gotta go. And it's raining.
Well, I feel like we've been on long enough. I think it's about time we wrap this up.
I have to run out to the kennel.
Yeah,
okay.
Me too. I gotta go meet you at the kennels. Okay,
hold
bye.
on.
Meet you at the kennels.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Hey, Bubba.
It's a guinea.
This is a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash. Quit.
Getting ready to do exactly what I didn't want to do.
You're getting ready to do what you didn't want to do.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to sweat. I was getting ready to work. I went back to the air conditioner.